Oh my gosh. Well, it's gone from one extreme to the other down here. It has been absolutely grim these past few weeks. Well, for most of summer actually, it's been really, really grey and damp and cold. But today it's scorching hot. It must be 25 degrees, which for Sheffield is scorching hot. It feels pretty tropical down here. And I'm taking advantage of the dry ground by doing a little bit of weeding in between the veggies in the beds. So it's been quite a while since I've updated you on the allotment garden. I think the last time I filmed a video was at the beginning of June when I was planting out my tomatoes. So it's about 6 weeks ago, and there's various reasons for why I haven't been filming. Lots has changed on the plot and I've been busy doing a few little things, so I'll fill you in on that as we go along. Stop eating that tomato, duckies. Hey. Yeah, stop it. Not good for you. So regular viewers might be wondering who this cutie is, and his name is Domino. I don't want to start the video off on a sad note, so I'll go into a little bit more detail on Domino and the changes with the duck gang a bit later on. So I'm just going to go get a basket now and show you what's in fruit and what's in bloom this month. It wasn't intentional, this raspberry patch. A few little canes popped up a year or two ago and I just didn't get around to moving them. And when I moved my polytunnel here, I was actually going to rip them all up and then replant them somewhere else, but I just didn't get around to it. And then I noticed that there was hundreds and hundreds of flowers all over the canes. So I just thought I could leave them and they'd be able to fruit before the tomatoes needed that extra bit of light. So now they're actually getting quite big and the tomatoes are starting to need that light in the polytunnel. I'm thinking that I'm just going to harvest the last of the berries and then cut them down in a week or so, just to give a little bit more light into that polytunnel for those toms. So the other raspberry patches in the plot aren't as abundant as this one, so I'm really, really glad that I didn't pull them up. I've been harvesting so many every day, and I've got a drawer in the freezer that's absolutely full of raspberries. And this morning I actually harvested most of the ones from here because I made a smoothie. So let me see if there's any more little gems hiding anywhere. Let me just show you inside the polytunnel actually. It's looking a lot bigger since the last time I showed you, with when I was planting it all up. All of the tomatoes are starting to climb up their strings and they're really bulking out quite a lot now. They're throwing out loads of flowers, and then I've got lots of, well, not lots, but I've got a few chili and pepper plants down here that are throwing out the fruits. And down here a big pepper on, a couple of peppers, oh, 3 peppers on that one already. Aubergine's not doing great, it's not very big for this time of year. So let's see what the temperature is saying in the polytunnel soil at the minute. 22 degrees. It's a bit bent this now, I've had it for years. And through here to the back of my plot, the skate ramp has, well, it's been completely renewed. We ripped up all of the old ramp and replaced all of the wood, and it still needs one more coat of this waterproof fence paint before it is finished and ready for the season. Pretty happy with it. Looks quite nice. It's nice. It rides nice as well. But yeah, pretty cool. I'm also stoked with the back of this fence in here as well, because all of my climbing plants are finally starting to stretch over, including this beautiful, beautiful rose that I planted last June. And it's absolutely gone mad. I need to get rid of this bindweed because I do not want you creeping through. So this rose is called the Maid of Kent, and I bought it for one of my mum's kind of anniversary memorial plants that I always get for her. It's got quite a nice scent to it, very subtle though. It's doing really well. It's climbing all along this little fence here. I've got some honeysuckle intertwined, which is actually a different honeysuckle to the one that's all around my kitchen at the back of the ramp there. All of my gooseberries are all through here, and there are so many. I don't know if you can see, but there's quite a few down here. Actually loads. They're super ripe now. Gosh, it is so warm today, but I'm not complaining because, like I say, the weather's been absolutely atrocious. So yeah, we're due a little bit of sunshine and a little bit of good weather. Ouch! 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 These are so ripe and ready now. They're proper plump and juicy. So it's a good harvest here already. Pretty stoked with that. I celebrated my 37th birthday at the end of last month, and we took a trip to Wales in the camper van, and it was absolutely stunning. It's absolutely beautiful country. I love Wales so much. And we did a little bit of mushroom hunting, found lots of chanterelles, and we just camped in the van next to lakes. It was beautiful. I went swimming and it was absolutely freezing. I'm really not good with the cold at all, and it took me ages to get in, but it was very nice nonetheless. You always feel good after, don't you? I think that's it for the gooseberries. Oh, there's a couple here. It's a good harvest so far of gooseberries. Pretty stoked with that. There's still quite a few more over on those canes there. I just can't reach them, so I might need to go and get my little grabber. So this is my little grabber tool, and this used to belong to my mum. I thought it might be quite handy for reaching things up on the tree and grabbing down branches so I can reach the fruits off them. And I was not wrong. It's great. There's a couple of canes over there that I just need to grab. So this is this week's collection of apples that the squirrels have helped themselves to. Can you be quiet, please? And just past my gooseberries is my big blackcurrant bush, and I harvested most of these and made a cordial already, but there are a few stray berries knocking about that I think I can add into my clafouti, and that is one of my favourite desserts to make with summer fruits. I got the recipe from my friend Ashley. She's not on YouTube, but she's at The Gardener Path on Instagram, and she just told me about this French dessert. It's kind of like a French creamy custard dessert that you can make with all of your kind of jumbled, mismatched berries, and it's really, really delicious. One of my favourites. So I think I'm going to make one of these. There's actually quite a few that I've missed off here. I'm quite surprised. I've had a really exciting delivery last month, and I forgot to bring it with me because I did actually want to give you a little sneak peek and show you. But my book, The Forager's Almanac, has arrived, the first ever copy. And you may have seen one of my shorts that I did for the launch of it, and that was actually a dummy book. It was just like a printed out cover that the publishers did for me for the promotion, and the inside was actually blank. So I hadn't seen the book until it got delivered a couple of weeks ago, and it was so overwhelming to get it. I was going to show you through it and do kind of like a little video of the opening. I actually got it just the day before solstice, and I'd planned to camp down here, set up the bath and have a little fire just to celebrate solstice. And I just thought it would be a really good time to have a look at it myself. It was a really lovely night. I camped down here, I got the fire going, and I just sat in the bath with a little plank of wood over the top, and I went through my book. I'm really happy with how it's come out, and yeah, it's really, really cool. I can't wait to share it with you properly. It's published on the 26th of September, and it's available for pre-order now actually on Amazon and on Waterstones as well. But it will be available in stores and stuff from the 26th of September, so I'm really, really excited for that. I'll drop the link to it in my description below this video if you are interested, and you can take a little look at it. So not only that, but this year I actually spent 4 months learning to drive. And yeah, I'm actually, something that I don't ever share because I mean it's never really come up in conversation, but I have a phobia of roads and of cars. And I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but literally up until I was about 25 or 26, I would like grab onto the clothing of whoever was with me crossing a road. Like, I just have some weird phobia of roads. I just think that humans shouldn't be allowed to power ton vehicles at like 70 miles an hour. To me, that is absolutely insane. Like, why do we need to be going that fast? But driving has always been a big fear of mine. I've actually tried it a few times. So for my 17th birthday, I had a block of lessons and I did those. And then I tried it again in my early 20s. I tried it again in my early 30s. You know, I've tried on and off for 20 years. It's just super scary to me, but I'm really trying to get over certain things that make me scared. And I really think to grow as a person, you need to get over fears. And that was just one fear that I've had since I was little. And this time I actually stuck with my lessons. It took me ages. I did 60 hours of lessons and 4 tests before I passed on the 4th time. It was really hard for me, but I'm so proud that I stuck at it. I passed on the 19th of June, so it's been about a month now, and I've only started driving on my own this week. So I've driven to the allotment today, and I've done that a couple of days now, and I hate it. It's super scary. But I'm just gonna keep going and keep trying to do it, because eventually it will become less scary, like anything in life. But yeah, like I say, finally bit the bullet and did it, and I couldn't be happier. I still hate it. I'm still petrified every time I get in the car, but little and often, and I think that I can finally break out of that fear, and it might become a comfortable thing eventually. So that's a couple of life changes, my new book and learning to drive. So yeah, super stoked with that. I'm also super stoked with this blackcurrant harvest. Look at that. I didn't think that there was many left on this bush, but looks like I was wrong. The lemon balm is going crazy as usual this time of year. Please keep away from my fruits, guys. They are not for you. Yeah, lemon balm's gone crazy this year. Well, it goes crazy every year, but it just seems exceptionally bushy this year, and I'm not sure if that's because I keep cutting it back. I've actually made quite a few harvests of lemon balm already so far this year, and I've got lots and lots of it drying. God, these sweet peas smell absolutely amazing. So this, everybody, is Domino. And Domino is a beautiful, beautiful black drake that is actually from the same brood as Daffodil and Dibdibs. And I found out that he was the only one left of the brood, and he was on his own. So when I found that out, Ryan went, all right, Daffs, I'll put him down in a second. They hate being separated. But yeah, when I found out that he was left on his own in the brood, I went and collected him, or Ryan went and collected him for me. And then he come to live here. And as soon as we, hang on. So when we put him in the pen for the first time, Dib Dibs and Daff, it looked like they recognised him, and it was so cute. Daffodil, she just went up and they started having a little nuzzle around their necks, and it was super cute. Dib Dibs she was in her own little world, bless her, but she looked quite happy that he was there. And they just fit in together straight away, didn't you? And he's so lovely. He's more friendly than Daffodil. She absolutely hates being picked up, but Domino, he doesn't mind it so much, and when you give him mealworms he kind of chills out. But he's also got this super lovely like heart shape on his chest, and it matches my little cat Penny at home. She's a black cat and she's got a little heart shape on her chest. All right guys, you're back together now. You're back together, aren't you? Come here. Let's see if I can pick up Daffodil. I don't think I can. And this is Daffodil. Look how big she's gotten. Hey, you're very big now, and all of your baby feathers are pretty much gone. She is beautiful. She's got a lovely patterning on her. And if you're wondering where Dib Dibs is, I'm sad to say that she passed away. It was really sad. Come on, let me put you down. Come on, let me sort them out and I'll tell you about Dibs.
You've been waiting to go to bed for ages, haven't you?
These sweet peas look incredible, don't they? Only one half of the archway actually bloomed though. The other half of this frame was planted at exactly the same time, and the only difference was that there were daffodils in this side of the bed. So I'm not sure whether daffodils have some sort of allelopathic properties. I didn't know that they had, so I might actually research it and find out, because it seems quite odd that these ones thrived, but those ones didn't. Unless there was just something in the soil on this side, or yeah, I don't know. Pretty stumped by that. But I'm going to harvest some of these now. Bit of a wonky stem, this one. So poor little Dib Dibs. Everybody absolutely loved her and her little cute crest that was on her head. Remember her little fluffy head? And I used to get so many messages literally just about the crest and how cute it was, and that she looked like Einstein. But actually, sadly, that crest is bred into the ducks for an ornamental value. But the crest is actually covering up a hole in the skull. It's a genetic deformity that means that the brain sometimes protrudes from the skull, and underneath that crest is a lumpy fatty tissue, like a fat body, and that is trying to protect the brain because there's a hole in the skull. And unfortunately with that breed, I had no idea about this. This is all just research after. So that breed, actually 25% of the eggs don't even hatch because the brains form outside of the skull. Like, it is that mental. And why breeders are still allowed to breed these ducks is beyond me, because that just seems like animal cruelty to me. So many of that breed has the same problems that Dib Dibs had, and actually a lot worse as well. So the size of the hole depends on the size of the crest, and Dib Dibs had quite a big crest on it, didn't she? It was quite a big fluffy head. And yeah, so actually the day that I filmed my last video, when I was planting out my heirloom tomatoes, the last video on my YouTube channel, that day, that evening, was the first day that I noticed something was not quite right with Dibs. She tripped over and she couldn't get back up. It took her a while to get back up, and I thought that she was just spooked out. So what happened is I went to grab something, and Daffodil, who is a really skittish duck, she just legged it. She just freaked out and legged it. She jumped over Dib Dibs, which made her fall over. And then Dib Dibs was just kind of like scrambling on the floor, and she couldn't get up. And I thought that she was also a little bit stressed about what was happening, and she didn't know quite what was going on. But once she did kind of get on her feet again, she seemed okay and she didn't seem too bad. But then I kept noticing that she was just a little bit wobbly, and I weren't sure if she had hurt a leg or something as she had fallen. Like, it just seemed like it was out of the blue. She seemed absolutely fine in the morning, and then that day and then that evening she just come across all wobbly. And so I googled it when I got home, and I found out that niacin deficiency is very, very common in ducks. And so that was the first thing that I thought. You go on any duck forum and you type in wobbly duck and it'll say niacin deficiency, very, very common. So I thought it was quite odd because they were on a complete food diet and they wasn't being fed anything odd. It was just like a complete duck food that is supposed to have all of their nutrition in it. And Daffodil seemed absolutely fine, like there was nothing wrong with her. So I did think it was odd that it might be a deficiency, but you know, that was the first thing that I tried. So I started adding niacin to my water to see if that helped. And if it was that, it was supposed to clear up in 3 to 4 days. So I had high hopes that she would be absolutely fine in 3 to 4 days. And I just noticed that every single day she was getting progressively worse. She would just fall over all the time. She would trip up on anything and everything, and then it would take her a little while for her to get back on her feet and right again. But other than her wobbly nature, she was absolutely so fine and happy. She was eating worms with the others, she was foraging, she was trying to chase them about, and she was just falling over a lot. But she was still keeping up with them and doing everything that these guys were doing. So I just thought that she would get better. But it soon became apparent that every day it was getting a lot worse. And I kind of just assumed that she was going to be a wobbly duck. I thought it was just a neurological condition that some ducks tend to get like humans, and I thought that she might just be my little disabled ducky and that I could look after her. I had absolutely committed myself to looking after her. I was going to take her home and have a little place there for her. I'd even gone to the swimming pool to buy a pool noodle. I was going to make her like a little duck float to make it a bit easier when she was swimming, so she wasn't just swimming around in circles. I did so much research about ducks with disabilities and I was just super committed to helping her out. But then one day I came in and she just could not walk. She couldn't walk at all. Like, she was still eating, but she just couldn't walk. So I came into the shed one day and Dibs was face down in the pen, because there's lots of straw in there. And what it looked like had happened is she had fallen over and she had tried to get herself back up, but this time she couldn't, and she had just kind of like scrambled around and made herself basically a little nest or pit that she couldn't get out of because the straw was too high on either side, and she was just kind of stuck there. And she must have been stuck there all night, and she must have been struggling because all of her feathers, she was white, wasn't she? And all of her feathers were just covered in muck and dust and dirt from where she had been scrambling. And not only that, but she had also been thrashing around, and she must have hit her beak on either the floor or the cage. And I had no idea that beaks could even bruise. I thought that they were just like hard, like bone or something. But it turns out that there's loads of blood vessels and stuff inside beaks. And when I saw her, all of her beak was all swollen and bruised, and it was honestly like, trying not to cry, but it was honestly one of the most sad and distressing things to witness, because I just saw her deteriorate and get worse and worse every day. But when I found her that day, and she was just like completely, like her beak was all mashed, she was just so dirty. And then I took her out, and then I gave her some water, and I put some mealworms in there, and she was eating them all up, and she looked like super hungry. And I went and put her in the pond just so she could kind of get herself clean again, and I put her in there, and then I tried to wash her off. She was swimming about, and she seemed okay, like she seemed all right. Well, I could tell she wasn't all right, but it was like her little nature, bless her. She was just getting on with it, and she was swimming around and eating her mealworms. but she stopped responding, she stopped accepting food. She also couldn't go in the pond anymore because where she wasn't able to prune herself, her feathers weren't waterproof, so she was just getting waterlogged. So I had to take her out and I had to dry her off myself and sit with her, and she couldn't even sit herself upright. She was just falling over and flailing around, so I had to kind of cushion her in with cushions all around her just so she was upright and not struggling so much. And yeah, it's just super sad. I was actually going to take her to the vet the next morning, but I put her in like a cat carry case to take her to the vet the next day, and I put it inside the pen with the ducks so she could have a last night with them, and so she could still kind of like hear them and they could be with her. But I came the next morning and she had already passed, and yeah, I was just fucking gutted, man. I was heartbroken, and I just think it's insane that these breeders are allowed to breed these ducks. I mean, they're show ducks. It's called the crested duck, or this is the crested runner duck in particular, mine. But these crested ducks are bred into a few different types of breeds of duck as well. But yeah, it's just absolutely awful, and it should be banned. And it is banned in some countries, but in the UK, for some reason, we still allow it. And yeah, so if you see anybody who is thinking about getting a crested duck, or you see somebody comment saying, "Oh, that's cute," do let them know, because yeah, it's just, I just wouldn't wish that on anyone. It was just the worst to see her go from such a happy, friendly duckling, and she was like the friendliest one of all of them. She'd come up for cuddles and she'd come up for strokes, and she was just super friendly. She loved being picked up, and she was called Dib Dibs after my mum's duck that what we had when we were little. And yeah, it's just sad to see her go through that. She didn't deserve any of that. She was such a happy, special little duck. And like Ryan came in and I was just absolutely bawling my eyes out, and I just felt a bit stupid, like it's a fucking duck. But she was my little duck and I loved her so much. Yeah, she was gorgeous. But let's try and brighten things up a little bit by harvesting some broad beans and seeing how those potatoes are doing. So this is my last remaining broad bean bed. I did have another one over there, but I've pulled them up already. And there's not too many on here actually, to be honest with you. There's a few straggly sunflowers in here. So I think I might get rid of as many of these plants as I can and free up a bit of space for some other plants to go in. Maybe some turnips and some Swedes. There's actually still a few little baby ones growing, so maybe I won't pull up these plants just yet. I might just harvest some of the bigger beans at the bottom. Can you see my Wendy house over there? That's actually going to be the duck house soon. It still needs a paint, and I'm going to put some tiles on it just to make it super secure and waterproof. But that is going to be their little house, and the pond's just next to it. Oh no, there's a dead dragonfly in there. No! He's not dead. He's not dead. I saved him just in time, and he had his little wing tucked under, this one here, and it's not straight yet, so he's struggling to fly. I'm just trying to straighten it out. It's a little bit wet. Come on. I don't want to damage it, but I just want to straighten it out for you. That's it. That's it. Just need to dry off now. That's it. That's it. You can do it. You can do it. Oh my gosh, I've never seen a dragonfly so close up. It's absolutely stunning. I'm so glad I caught it in time. Look at it, it's just cleaning himself off. I'm so stoked that I found this little guy in time. Look at him. I thought he was a goner. He was just laying flat in the pond, absolutely just stuck. You got something on your wing. Is that what's making it hard for you to fly? That's it. Get it off. That's it. Oh, I'm just so glad that it's okay. They're absolutely stunning. I tell you what, I'm also glad that the ducks didn't go in the pond and find it, because they would have gobbled him right up. I hope he's okay. I think he just needs to dry off. He just needs to dry off. Yes. So I've had the dragonfly on me for about 15 minutes now, and I'm just letting him dry off. I put him in the sunshine for a little bit, and his wings don't seem wet anymore. But I don't know whether he's just a little bit tired, but he's been cleaning himself off. So I'm hoping that he can fly away soon. I'm just trying to harvest my broad beans with a dragonfly in one hand. He's become quite attached to me now. He's been here about 15 minutes, and it looks like his wings have dried off now, and he's just given his little head a clean. That is crazy. It's crazy how they move, man. It's like, they're like little robots. They've got all like mechanisms. When their mouths open, it's like the sides of their face open, and then the head turns almost like all the way round. Honestly, how beautiful is this guy? Oh, the sun's just come out. I'm going to go and put him in the sun so he can dry off. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here actually, because I'm just chasing the sunlight at the minute to get this little guy's wings all dry so he can get on his merry way. And I'm going to get home and get some food because I am very hungry. A certain little cat stole my lunch today, but I'm going to get going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.